Welcome to selfdiscoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Ignite Your Heart and Soul right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy. My wonderful guest today is R. Scott Holmes. Yes, he's an author. He is a wisdom guru. He is somebody that's actually gathering a whole lot of men to write a book to share their stories, something that's quite liberating and eye-opening. There's so many things that he has done and that he's doing, and this is all after retirement. He says that he's found that curiosity is second only to love in its ability to change and shape our lives, whether it is as a toddler, a teenager, or an aging adult. Maintaining curiosity to learn, change perspective, investigate rabbit holes, or diving into our own inner space requires all of our senses. Seniors maintain the youth when stricken with curiosity. Teenagers find their place in the world as they grow into their bodies, their emotions, and their self-image. His mission is to guide seekers along the journey of healing and to find their soul mission. Scott began walking this holistic healing world when his wife of 39 years died after a 20-year battle with breast cancer. After years of caregiving for his daughter and wife, the world of coaching, healing, and energy opened. His soul journey has been to help others heal through the one-on-one sessions, teaching, and volunteering with local hospice. He's a best-selling Amazon author of 10 collaboration and is currently engaged in the interviewing of 200 men in the book, When Did You Become a Man? A very good question to ask men, because men think they're automatically men, but they don't realize they're on a journey of growth and self-discovery themselves, aren't they, Scott? Welcome
They
to the show.
certainly are. They certainly are. Thank you very much. The funny thing is I've spoken to men who are 65, 70 years old. And a couple of them have said, I don't know if I've ever truly become one.
Mm, mm,
It's all in how it's defined, how it's looked at, they were taught, and the role models they were given
yes.
as they were growing up. And that is, there's a bit of sadness in that, and a bit of curiosity. And so that's where we're going with that. I'm still looking for. I've done about 37 interviews now, of the 200,
Mm-hmm.
and through the mid 2026, I'll be interviewing men from the ages of 30 to 60. Excuse me, 30 to 60 and above.
Right.
Um, I think the oldest was 92.
Ah,
And
well, what a lot of perspective right there.
and he was funny. And
Uh-huh.
and we do it without using just first names to be able to give the story, because it's important for men to tell their stories. Nobody asks them anymore,
No,
and
no,
they don't ask themselves those
no.
questions either.
Uh, and that's the big one. Like women, I think, are more embraces of that self-discovery. There's got to be more to life than just the label that's been given to me. Who am I really? And they're more eager to be present with self and making that self-discovery. But men have been so conditioned through eons and eons and DNA and past lives and everything else to be this label. The man is the strong man, the decisive man, the warrior, the breadwinner, they're all of that. Ask them to be vulnerable. Ask them to listen to their heart, soul, and spirit. What the hell are you talking about?
In my journey, we'll talk a bit about it, but I often said it was a million-mile journey from here to
Yeah,
here for
yeah,
me,
yeah.
because I was taught never to that emotions were not good. They were bad. So I
Sign
just
of weakness.
push them all down
Yeah.
until there was no more room. And that's when they all came out.
Uh-huh.
And it's hard when I talk to men. You get this 250 pound biker dude, all clad in leather. And I said, the only way that you can become a man is to find your heart and to find your inner feminine,
Hmm. Hmm.
because that balance between masculine and feminine within you, where you find that stability, that grounding,
Yes.
that peace,
Yeah.
because and that's how you become whole, how you become a better man, a transcendent man, is by finding your inner feminine,
Yeah.
as well as defining your inner masculine in a different way,
Yes.
and finding compassion.
Oh, God, yes.
And
Yes.
compassion is, that's the one thing that I failed at miserably through my 30s, 40s, and into my 50s, was that lack of compassion. It was all here. It was
Mm.
all logic. It was all, and
Rationale.
oh yes, make decisions and that's it, black and white. That's it. Okay. There was no compassion involved, and it lent itself to very hard borders,
Hmm.
very strong borders, and I was always wondering why people couldn't get close to me. Well, when you throw up the walls and you throw up the borders and they're that high and that deep and
Hmm.
that strong, nobody can get close,
You're not
no
even
matter
aware
how
there's
much you
somebody
want
on the
to.
other side of the wall.
You don't even know if they're there.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's in doing. I don't really do. Most of my clients, by the way, are women between the ages of 30 and 65,
Hmm.
and I am grateful for that because they feel comfortable with me, and that I had three daughters. And so I've always had been surrounded by women and always felt comfortable with that, never threatened. It's um, when my girls were younger, I did brownies and Girl Scouts and those kind of things, and they danced. And I was always around. But there were so few fathers that even
Yes.
came close. And I asked them, I said, you know, if your daughter was playing sports, you'd be a coach. Well, yeah, of course. Well, they're dancing. Why are you not showing up? Yes, I
Hmm.
know you can't teach them to dance, you can't coach them to dance, but you can support them by being
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
I was the dad at Brownies and Girl Scouts because I would show up for them. And the moms kind of looked at me and said, really didn't know what to do with me, of course, because I was the unicorn. When I first started, I turned 50 and I started going to yoga, and I was the man in the room. You know, I get the side eyes and like, there's a man here? Wait.
Is he here just to pick up women?
Yes, yes, exactly. So I tried to make myself as unobtrusive as possible in the
Mm.
corner. And the funny thing is, I would have friends that go, "Oh, you go to yoga? Yeah, you get to." I'm like, "Excuse me, my eyes are closed 90% of the time. I don't
Hmm.
know what you're talking about. This is not about anything else other than me in the practice of yoga, which I do to this day on
Hmm.
a daily basis in my own home, because it has given me so much. By the way, any men out there, anyone over the age of 50, start yoga. It will change your life.
Hmm.
I had hurt my back when I was 25 years old. And every year I would end up for weeks on end on the couch because I couldn't move because my back would hurt so badly. Doctors tried everything, couldn't
Hmm.
do it. So at 50 years old, a friend of mine came to me and said she was a yogini, and she said, "Yeah, yeah, you should do yoga." I'm like, "Yeah, that's for women." She said, "Okay, bend over and touch your toes right now." I got all the way to my knees and I couldn't get any further. And she said, "Yeah, okay, we'll see you on Saturday." So I started going, and what I realized is how limited my motion was, how
Mm.
restricted I was. I thought I was strong, but trust me, when this lovely 70-year-old woman was sitting there with this beatific smile on her face, while I'm struggling and grunting and just shaking, trying to just get into some semblance of the pose, I realized there's a whole lot more to yoga than
Yes, it is.
just trying to get in a position. And it strengthened those parts of me that I didn't realize needed to be strengthened.
Not
So
just physically.
not just physically, but the act of yoga, of just the contemplation, the quiet,
Mm.
because most men don't have quiet. Even when they're working out, they have earbuds, they're listening to music, it's all pounding, it's all they're just removed.
Hmm.
Rather than in meditation being with
Hmm.
yourself. And it just so interesting in that it's such a foreign concept to most men
Yes.
to be alone with yourself.
They're taught to be doing, doing, doing rather than being. And, you know, when you're doing something like yoga, or Tai Chi, Qigong, or anything that kind of is more slow and deliberate, you're releasing energy that goes right through your body. And of course, the men have been taught, you know, the gym, you've got to move your energy by moving your body and pushing it to the limits, breaking point. That proves you're a man. But chi energy likes to be fluid through your body. And let's look at particular groups around the world that do Tai Chi or Qigong. They don't necessarily do yoga, but it's of the same principle. It's all about deliberate stretching. It's all about movement and fluidity. It's all about allowing the energy to run through your body. It's about connection with self and with universe. And it's a time to not think, but to feel, to allow things to go through you. And if you're in the gym, pounding, 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 music in your ear or music going on in the room, and it's all about building muscles and an extra, you know, bicep and everything, then you're not making any connection to self at all, whether female or male, but male particularly have been sold this bill of goods that only if
Absolutely.
you, you know, built like He-Man, you're a man. And women, let me tell you, men love men who are sensitive, who are in tune with themselves, who can have a heart and soul and spirit felt conversation that is deep. Somebody that knows their yin and their yang, that is connected to source, God, universe, spirit, source, energy, whatever you want to call it, that is willing to go down those beautiful, deep rabbit holes of conversation and self exploration. We love that. We want those kind of conversations. It isn't about how many muscles you got or how many calories you eat or how many this and that. No, please be vulnerable with us. Show us your heart, show us your soul, because that's the connection we crave.
Interesting, isn't it? And
Hmm.
until men find that within them,
Mm.
they don't have that kind of connection with women.
No.
Um, I am learning in the process of learning Qigong and doing it on a daily basis. I I went to Vietnam and we were in this park at noontime and there were 40, could never tell how old they were.
Hmm.
They could have been 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and they're all so fluid
Yes.
walking through it. And there's such an ancient culture. And I'm saying to myself, my Lord, if they have this, I have this contract. I've often said I have a contract to live till I'm 100. So I want to be as,
Supple as possible.
yes, I want to be able to function. I want to be able to
Yes.
walk. I want to be able to have clarity. I want to have that energy when I am 100 and still be able to do this.
Yeah.
It's it really is in in working with clients, I've asked them about their inner masculine and inner feminine and how they view that. And until that internal relationship is solved and resolved, it it doesn't
Nothing
show
out there.
itself.
No,
There's nothing out there.
no, nothing out there that's going to resolve it. Nothing.
Tell you a story, my favorite story. It's a longtime friend of mine, and we reconnected. We had been to high school together, and we reconnected just 8 years ago. And she in school she was always very militaristic. You know, she was always independent. She was a feminist. This is in the 70s going to
Hmm.
school.
Women's
And
lib.
oh God, she
Burn the
she
bra.
embodied it.
Yeah.
And had been through and when I reconnected with her, she had been through 2 divorces. And so I said, I want you to describe your inner feminine. She said, what do you mean? I said, what does she look like to you? She thought, and I said, well, this is how I see her. I see her on a horse and she is a warrior, and she has a shield and a spear and a bow and an arrow and a sword, and she is ready for battle. And she says, yes, yes, that's my inner feminine. And I said, and what does your inner masculine look like? And she goes, I don't, what do you mean? I said, I see him. He's over in the corner, curled up in the fetal position. I said, she said, no, that can't be. I said, he's afraid you're going to kill him.
Yeah.
He, we were having this discussion about her being approachable,
Mm.
her that she is one, and she caught it that she thought that she was unlovable. I said, no, you've got a beautiful heart. You're wonderful. You're independent. I said, you have all those. I said, will you do me a favor? I said, would you do me a favor and just think about this? She says, I will never change for a man. I said, nope, I'm not asking you to. I said, but would you do me a favor and just get down off the horse?
Mhm.
Really? I said, yeah. And would you put the shield and the sword to the side and the spear? Just put it aside. I said, now look at your inner masculine. I said, he's actually standing up because he's not afraid to approach you. He's not afraid
Mhm.
that you're going to just kill him because he's a man.
Exactly.
And she sat with that. I was visiting her and we had this discussion. 2 months later, she called me up and she said, I think I'm in my first adult relationship at the age of 60
Mhm.
because she had stopped being so unapproachable and had that vulnerability, had just was she was not afraid that men were going to do her harm,
Right.
that their intent was not to do her harm every time she met one.
Yes.
And she had her first, at 60, after 2 marriages, her first adult relationship that she saw it because she allowed herself to be vulnerable. And that's what we're asking
Mhm.
for men to be
Yes.
vulnerable. Oh, no, they'll just take advantage of me. Excuse me? Women want connection.
We
I'm
do.
sorry. I'm sorry. Women want connection. They don't want you to be standoffish. They aren't looking for posers. They're not looking for knights on shining army
Misogynistics. Yes.
on horses because all they do is ride by.
Yeah,
And
exactly. They're off to war.
they're
What
off
good
to
are
war.
they?
They're off. They're not hanging around.
No.
As much as we were taught that, you had to be that strong man growing up, that it takes a different form
Mm.
when you want a relationship. And it's happily ever after. They never showed you what happened happily ever
No.
after, right? In the movies and the cartoons and in all the stories, happily ever after meant I was married, so I didn't have to work at it anymore. Excuse me?
Mm. Hmm. Exactly. Is that how you would run a business?
Yes, you just
Yeah,
start it up and say, I'm in business, and you walk
yeah,
away
and
and
where
just
would
don't
that
have to work
business
at it.
go? Down the sewage, right? So
Absolutely.
everything, every relationship needs to be worked on. But if you have to work too hard, you're doing it wrong. But if you work with it with thought and consideration, you will see what needs to be attended to. You will see what needs to be engaged. You will know when to back off. It's paying attention,
Being
right?
present.
Being present and being aware and being engaged, right? And everybody needs space. Allow people space to gather their thoughts, to gather their feelings. Please do not tell somebody they're being emotional. We want them to be emotional to the point of engaged with their emotions. We just don't want them to be emotional about their emotions. Right?
Wow. Yeah, that's a heavy one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Emotional about their emotion. I used to have this discussion with my wife when she was before she had passed because she'd get angry.
Mhm.
And we had been married. We got married. I was 19 when I got married and 20 when I had my first child. And she was angry at me for something because I probably did something very silly. And she didn't talk to me for 3 days. We lived in a three-room apartment and there were only two of us, but she didn't even recognize me. She would look at me, not speak, walk the other way.
Mm. Cold shoulder. Mhm.
Oh, and what I realized afterwards is her parents used to go a week without speaking, and dad would end up on the couch, and that's how they kind of resolve things. And I just said, please, 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 don't ever do that. that is the worst thing possible thing you could do. He said, what do you mean? That's that's how I express my anger. I said, well, you could slam doors, you could scream, you could yell, you could get in the car and drive, you could throw dishes. There are many ways to express being angry, but not that one.
Yeah.
And so she we learned how not to express anger in that way, that I wanted to hear her, I needed to talk to her, I needed to resolve it. I could not leave it unresolved.
Yeah. How would
And
you know how to, what the problem is, or how would you know how to resolve it if you don't know what it is? And if you're getting the silent treatment, all you're doing is going through everything you did. What did I do? Did I do this? Did I do that? And it was probably something of bloody toilet seat not being put back down again, And
okay,
that's
okay, just that one time, she was 7 months pregnant, and all of a sudden, in the middle of at 2 o'clock in the morning, I hear scream. And of course, I had not put down the toilet seat, and she fell into the toilet and couldn't get out because she was 7 months pregnant. But just one of those,
But
one of
it's
those
always
things in
something
life.
silly, isn't it?
Yes.
When you ask people, why are you so mad? When you look at families that haven't spoken, for eons, and they say, like, well, what started it? I don't know.
I don't
It's
know.
just
I
that
just
they
know I
were
was.
wrong. It's just I'm still mad. But what are you mad at? How can you nurture something that's so painful, that has been so caused such disconnection, where the even has gone to the point of loathing and battle, when you don't even know what the problem was? And when it comes down to it, when you finally get to that root problem, it was a misunderstanding
To
that,
begin
had you
with.
both taken your emotions out of it and had a conversation, you would realize, that there were two sides to it, and you just hadn't connected on what the center was. And it's like, I just don't understand it.
In most families, it's all about emotions, or um, unhealed inner children, or relationships that you had when you were 6, 7, 10,
Yes.
12 with your siblings. And that's how they reacted then, and that's how they react as an adult. And that's um, so many of what we go through, the reactions we have are from unhealed children,
Yes,
unhealed parts of ourselves.
absolutely. Having done this for a long time, 13 years and 3,000 shows, I can tell you that the common denominator is the inner child feeling that they are unheard, unseen, unwanted. And it's not for other people to heal that. It's for us to acknowledge that inner child. Go in and give them a hug. I see you. I hear you. Do you want to travel with me? Right? And keep that inner child. I lived with then a 90-year-old. She's 92 now. Just got her driver's license renewed. She drives like a maniac.
At
She
92?
at 92, and
Oh,
she cooks, she does it. She's so independent. This is a woman that had 4 years of polio, lost her twin sister at the same time. Fiance was killed 4 days before the wedding. She's been through it, right, in life, but she chooses joy. And the simplest of things give her joy. But she's furious. Like, there's a certain somebody in a certain country that she says, let him come over here and I'll chop him and I'll do this and I'll do that. Like, she's as feisty as hell. But the thing about her is that beautiful, joyful innocence and childlike in her that's still alive, where she finds so much pleasure in small things. And we've seemed to have forgotten that. We've seemed to, like, carry the weight of everything. We don't know how to have joy. We just don't know how to look at something. Yeah, but. And I say, sit on that butt, right? Sit on that back. Pay attention to what's going out there. If you've forgotten joy, go for a walk. Watch a dog chase a stick. Watch a child playing, picking up a flower and being joyful about it. Pay attention to the rustle of the leaves, the ocean against the shore. Let the wind blow the cobwebs away. Be engaged with nature. And if you can't smile somewhere along the line, then the problem is much more serious.
you you have dovetailed beautifully. I'm writing in for a collaboration called Joy Unleashed. And the title of my chapter is The Joyful Inner Child.
Mm-hmm.
And to start off, I tell the story of watching watching my children as they open their last present for Christmas on Christmas morning. And they are so excited. and they got Cabbage Patch dolls. I don't know if you remember
Oh,
those.
I do. The 80s, yes.
They they were the
I
ugliest. They were the ugliest things, but they became the must-haves for that
know.
particular year. And I would go to the pharmacy, and they were sitting on this end cap, and they sat there for 6 months, and same ones sat there. They were getting dust on them. And then when my girls finally decided that they absolutely had to have Cabbage Patch dolls, you couldn't get them.
I know.
You
Hmm.
could not get them. So a friend of a friend of a friend who happened to know somebody, we got them they were selling for $20, and we ended up paying $75 a piece to be
Wow.
able to 3 days before Christmas, to be able to put it under the Christmas tree. And to go to that length to be able to provide
Mm,
that magic for Santa Claus. And you only get about 10 years of that
yes.
when you have children. You only get that 10 years of magic and
Yeah.
Santa and all of that. And that joy, in writing the piece, that came back to me like
Mm,
like wow. It just it hit me so hard that I had missed that.
yes.
It has been years and years, but it's joy. And when we talk about joy, by the way, happiness and joy are two kind of
Hmm.
different things. They're
Hmm.
subtly different. And I find, and some people disagree. I find that joy is those lasting things that stick with you.
Yes.
Those points of life that connect with you, that you think of it and you automatically smile. And it's
Warms your
grounded.
heart.
It warms your heart.
Hmm.
It's those moments in life that really make you blossom. You
Yes.
feel them immediately. You can smell it, feel it, touch it. You remember that exact moment, whether it's a song that reminds you of somebody, if you whether it's an event that happened, or just a time in your life. I grew up in a neighborhood where my sisters, who were a couple of years younger than I have, there were two other girls in the entire neighborhood. There were 15 boys, all within 3 years of age, who lived less than five houses square.
Hmm.
So we had, just there was always somebody around to play with, and that camaraderie, those
Yes.
friendships, and playing ball, playing kickball, playing soccer, playing, or in your case, football, and just whatever it was we were doing, we would make up games,
Hmm.
when we were younger and growing up, and it was just always constant, and that joy of camaraderie
And
followed me.
imagination.
An
Yeah.
imagination.
Mm.
Talk about building a treehouse, and we
Hmm.
started the treehouse. I asked my dad. I was about 11, and I asked my dad, "Can I build a treehouse?" He said, "Well, I don't really have anything." He said, "But here's a hammer." And so I built about 4 feet up and I built this tree, this little 2 by 2 platform. And I borrowed some nails from somebody else, and I put up a couple pieces of wood and to be able to step up to it. And I stood on it and I was like, wow, this is amazing.
King of my
I'm
castle.
king. I'm all of 3 feet off the ground. I'm like, wow, this is what my dad must see because he's so tall. This is how he sees life. And I'd invite my friends up, and of course, only two of us could go up at the same time. And they said, we should build a treehouse. I said, well, how do we do that? So everybody in the neighborhood brought wood and leftover pieces, and somebody had bought an old window where all the glass smashed out of it. And so we kind
Mhm.
of put that up there, and we built a treehouse. And six of us could go in there, and we had walls, and it felt like a clubhouse.
Yes.
And by the end of 3 years, by the time I was 14, there were 7 floors on it. When we sat on it, at one time, there were 17 kids in the treehouse
Hmm.
at one time. And when we sat on it, we could look over the houses of the neighborhood. It was that tall.
Hmm.
So it was inspiration and collaboration. It was friendship. It was
Hmm.
whenever you didn't know where everybody was, you went to the treehouse and somebody was always there. And that became our meeting place. And it's much like the collaborations that we do for writing.
Yes.
There's that
Yes.
collective energy
Hmm.
and what comes of it. And when everybody brings a little piece of something, you never know what you're going to build and how it's going to shape, and the
But again,
energy.
it's
Oh yeah.
allowing the imaginations to go into the pot It's not one person's dictation of what it should be. It's a line, but what if we do this? What if we do that? Oh, let's try that. Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, how about this? How about that? And it's the building on the imagination because you're allowing each other to have a voice. And that's how it got to be 7 stories. That's how it got to have so much longevity because everybody felt they were a participant of it.
Yep. Yep. You're absolutely right. And I find that I guess, and just coming to the realization now that that's what I keep building
Yeah.
with all of the collaborations that I've been involved with and why I've been involved with 10 collaborations, because that's the meeting new people and getting ideas and being creative. I find that in working with clients is that one of the questions I ask, what is creative in your life? What brings you joy? What do you love to do? Do you love to knit? Do you love to paint? Do you love to read? Do you love to plant? Do you love to walk? What do you see? What is it that's creative about what you do in life? That sense of wonder, that curiosity
Yeah.
is what maintains a 92-year-old woman
Mm-hmm.
and with that sense of energy. And
Yes.
it's that energy that's the reason she's
Mm,
still around and kicking
absolutely.
and working at such a high level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I find that loneliness,
Oh, killer.
boredom,
Yes.
boredom,
Lack of self purpose or worth. Yeah.
lack of purpose,
Mm.
and isolation
Mm-hmm.
is a killer for older
Absolutely.
people.
Absolutely.
That's so much why I love being able to connect on a worldwide level with this technology, to be
Mm-hmm.
able to speak to people who see the world in a similar way of not this is dogma, but
Mm.
it's opportunities to do anything and everything, to
It's
build,
just
to
it's just
create.
rising up to, and the thing is a lot of the time, some people that step into the world of spirituality are just stepping into marketing is something, or it's just another face of religion and it has rules and regulations. And if they truly understand spirit and understand consciousness, is to understand it is completely free. Nobody holds it. We are a part of it. We contribute to it. We all dance within this beautiful energetic field. Our hearts and our souls and our spirits come alive, and all the essence of who we are becomes a part of that collective. No one owns it, no one can dictate it, but we can all channel it. We can all be part of that orchestra, each one with our own beautiful instrument. And we come with that pride on who we are and what we've got to contribute, but with no ego, only the willingness harmoniously to come together to transcend that beautiful energy out. It is not hard to get there if you can get out of head and you can truly go in and listen to your heart, your soul, and your spirit's wisdom. It will always show you the way. It's always the truth. It is always got you. And then it will show the mind what the mind needs to know when the mind needs to know it. But we love to intellectualize everything and dissect it. And, but yes, but why? But why? No, it's not just why, it just is. Sit in the just is. And why it is important will be revealed. If you're chasing that why all the time, you're missing the message.
Mhm. I would venture to say, anyone listening to this, by the way, out there, the energy that this woman gives is palpable. The entire time she was talking, my body was buzzing with energy. And that's we are on other sides of the Atlantic Ocean,
Mm-hmm.
and yet she can transmit that kind of energy to me. So I'm sure that you felt those words and those feelings that she had, that she sent out there. And that's what she's talking about, is
Mm-hmm.
the energy that we all have. We all breathe the same
Feel
air.
it. Feel
I've
it.
gone I've gone halfway around the world, 24 hours to Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia. We all breathe the same air.
Mm-hmm.
When someone tells me that they have the only way of looking at life,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of scratch my head
Yeah.
because there are billions of people in the world and they all have different ways of looking at things.
Mm-hmm.
are they wrong
Hmm.
because they don't believe the same way you do? Or
Right.
are they making the best of life with what it has given them in all ways?
Hmm.
The cultures are absolutely amazing when you open your mind and
Hmm.
you open your heart and you listen and you travel. And I don't know about you, Sarah, but I find that travel
Hmm.
for me is the greatest eye opener.
I don't do too much of it anymore, but BC, before children, I traveled a great deal. And now, my obligation when I travel is to go back home and see brother and sister, on the other side of the pond. And I've got almost three grandchildren, another one coming in 7 weeks, that I help look
Congratulations.
after. So three boys and, 4.5, 2.5, and a baby. So they keep me busy. And
Ooh,
and talk about
busy,
joy. They really do bring you joy, but it's exhausting, but they bring me joy.
busy,
Definitely.
busy is not the boys that age.
Yes.
That's pure energy
Oh
on
yeah.
steroids.
Absolutely. And one of them is like constant nana, 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 and the other one is a nana boy. And so we don't know about the baby yet. He's not born, but it's like they're all literally crawling all over me, which is wonderful. But just to see life and discovery through their eyes is absolutely wonderful. But travel, I did before children, and I've lived in 4 countries, and I've traveled many countries, and I would go alone, and I would immerse myself into the culture that's there. Never afraid to talk to strangers, never afraid to go to people's homes. It's probably a different situation now. My oldest daughter is that she works to travel and she goes exploring countries. We don't go to look for the British or the American or the thing restaurant. We go there to partake of the culture that is there, to dive into why they're so happy or what they do, and their history. If we're not open to that, if we're not open to absorbing that, we're the ones missing out. And whether you can travel or not physically anymore, we can travel around the world virtually. And it's a question of, my brother is an author. That's his book down there with the red hair. That's the number 4 in one of his book series. And I've just read his latest one, actually. And going to be doing a show with him in September on that. And I love getting lost in a book that takes me somewhere. So whether you can physically or non-physically, it's be willing to leave yourself and go somewhere on an exploration. It could be a podcast, could be a book, could be a wonderful movie or TV show that you get lost in. It could be a conversation with somebody from a different culture. Be willing to travel outside of yourself and explore what is out there.
And don't you find that when you travel, that you're much more willing, much more open to talk to people?
Oh, yes.
You go to the same coffee shop or tea shop that you always go to. You aren't necessarily talking to the person next to you,
Hmm.
in your own hometown. But if you go to Switzerland
Hmm.
and you sit down, you're looking for somebody to speak with. You want
Yes.
to talk to somebody. You're because you're open, you're traveling. And that's what I find is that all my senses just,
Hmm.
yeah, I want to, I want to feel it, see it, smell it. I
Yeah.
want to know it. And so many people that I've talked to in that travel and they're in a very, very tight and
Yeah.
they walk along and they might as well. And I was thinking about this. Akin to going to a museum and looking at pictures. Okay.
Mm.
It's just that you happen to be in the place to see the cathedral, to see the town square, to see that, but you're not experiencing it.
Yeah.
And what I find is that most people are looking for experience.
Hmm. Hmm.
If they want to know information, they can read it.
Exactly. Google it.
Yeah, yeah. Google, or as my daughter is once saying, is GTS. Google that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And so being experiential, and the only way to do that is to be present with where you are, what you're doing, how you're
At
doing it.
all times. At all times. I do an awful lot of business shows and other shows, and I'm always saying people will never buy from you until they buy you. And if you're
Yeah.
not being authentically you, then there is no connection, there is no invitation. Inspiration begets invitation. If people are inspired by who you are, how you make them feel, the energy that they feel from you, then they want to know more. they're inspired. They want to understand, who you are, what you're doing, and maybe what have you ignited inside of them, right? That
Mm.
curiosity and that wonderment. But we want to connect with people that are, this word, authentic, but are truly true to who they are because they've been willing to take the journey of self-discovery.
It is amazing. It is amazing. Self-discovery. So you would ask the question of when I came into spirituality and
Mm-hmm.
how that happened. My wife had passed of breast cancer after we had lost our youngest daughter years before.
Oh, I'm so
Um,
sorry.
and so caregiving was a major part of my
Mm-hmm.
adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was about caring for my wife all the way through, and she passed at home. I promised she would not see the inside of a hospital. She had seen it so many times
Yes.
that no matter what, she would be home and she would be there. And she was. And how she lasted 10 days without food or water,
Wow.
it just absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And, I asked the hospice people, the nurses, I said, how long can this go on? They said, well, we've seen up to a month,
Wow.
which is astounding.
Yes.
And she fought to the very end. And it just, after she was gone, I was bereft.
Mm-hmm.
My children were grown; they had families of their own, and I had the cat to talk to, and the cat really didn't like long conversations, in all sincerity. So for the first time in my life, I was alone. I was by myself. I had to listen and look in the mirror, and I had to listen to
Mm-hmm.
myself, and it scared the hell out of me,
Mm-hmm.
man. But as slowly as I came out of that, I started in with Reiki. Then I did Reiki too, and I did self Reiki every day, and I still, by the way, do that as a regular ritual. And I do self Reiki, and it's amazing the things that came up. And I
Mm-hmm.
started remembering who I was when I was 17, 18 years old, and I wanted to write. I was excited about life. I wanted to travel. I wanted to see things, and I had lost a lot of that just in the caregiving. When you're in survival mode, you
Yes,
lose a
exactly.
lot of those.
Mm.
You're just trying to get through the day, forget, plan a year from now.
Right.
And it just blossomed. And as in the writing, the very first book I wrote in was called Sacred Death.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Want to talk
Mm-hmm.
about scary. So I wrote the story of my wife, my daughter passing, and then my wife. And I wrote it for the world when I couldn't even originally tell that story to anyone. I could
Right.
not even relate it to myself without breaking down.
Mm-hmm.
And so writing was healing.
And
The
cathartic.
ability to tell the story
Mm-hmm.
outward and not being blaming, not being accusatory, not
Mm-hmm.
being angry, but tell the story so other people could understand it and feel it. And what I found is that I could relate the emotion. I always thought it was alchemy to take a pen and paper and create emotion out of that, to be able to bring that out.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my true goal.
Mm-hmm.
Gold, GOLD. Um, that is the joy that I found. And I want to do so much of it. I want to talk about it. I want to bring it to life and be able to ask the questions like you do on a
Mm-hmm.
regular basis. I want to ask questions of people. I want to know about people. My current wife kicks me under the table because she says they don't want to be interviewed. It's like, no, I just want to know. I want to know
Yes.
what they do, how they are,
It's
what
not an
they think.
interview, it's an inquiry.
It's an inquiry. Really, I'm not just interviewing. I want to, because I want to know about them. I
Mm-hmm.
want them to be heard. I want them to know to
Yes.
be seen. I want them to know
Mm-hmm.
that I am interested in what they are, who they are, what they're doing. And it's that love of life, that
Yes.
joy, that bringing that connection makes much like your 92-year-old,
Hmm.
she is just full of that inquiry, that curiosity.
Yes.
How we can self-curiosity, by the way, is what I found to be the biggest tool for me because I ask, why do I feel that way? Why
Hmm.
do I react that way? I'm asking myself, why did that happen the way it did?
Hmm.
Could it have been done differently? Could it have been done with more compassion? Could it have been just, if I just shut up, not said a word, could it have gone much differently?
Hmm. But hindsight is always 2020.
Oh, Lord, yes.
And the thing is, when we look back and go, yeah, I could have done this differently. Well, that just means if you're ever faced with a situation again or like type situation, you know how to do better because you have that knowledge now, that wisdom now. We can't blame people for reacting the way they are in the moment because in the moment that's all they know. But the detriment comes is when they're unwilling to know anything more, when they just accept, well, this is it, that's the way it is. I don't want to know anything more. You've just shut the door on your own spirit, on your own reason for living, and your own reason for being here. When we're willing to open that door and explore, even though sometimes it's painful to explore, sometimes it's painful to face the things that you've either done or felt or suppressed, right? And we let it out of the bag, and it's like, whoa, didn't know there was so much in there, But
You're right about that.
we feel so much better when we get to that other side and go, well, all of that's been released now. I'm a vessel ready to be filled with love. And the Japanese talk about a broken bowl that they put back together with gold. I'm saying take all the shatteredness of your life, put it back together with self love, then fill it up with love and let that love runneth over. Because then pain doesn't know how to enter. It will take whatever's painful and lovingly nurture it and heal it or just acknowledge the pain that is in there, but not to the point that it becomes crippling. Love does, it's corny. Love does win. Love is all. But that love is not just head or just heart or just soul or just spirit. That love is encompassing the beingness, the essence of not only who you are, but where you are, where we are, and what is around us and coming through us. It is everything.
My dad was in his 80s and he'd look at me and say, why do I have to change? I've been doing the same thing for 60 odd years. Why do I have to do anything different? And I would have this discussion with him because I said, well, things aren't quite the same as they were 60 years ago.
Hmm.
Number one, you've changed quite a bit. And he'd say, no, I haven't. Say, well, yeah, well, you know how to do things now that you didn't before. You had to learn them. You had to change. You had to grow. But it was refusal to change
Yes.
anything in the way he did it. And I love the way he would look at things because I always looked at things the exact opposite.
Hmm.
And they didn't like change. They lived in their same house for 55 years. And they bought it. It was their first house and it was their last house.
Hmm.
And um
I can't relate to that.
and they would never go anywhere. They would never do anything
Mm,
because they didn't like change. My sister said to me, well, nobody likes change. I said, I do. I
yes.
I I I embrace it. She said, that's not possible. No one likes change.
I think what they do is they don't understand what change is. The thing
Correct.
is, the more and more you become in tune with yourself, the more and more you realize that you are deep rooted. You've become this beautiful tree, deep rooted with a solid trunk, but you allow your branches to move in the wind and explore and learn and grab hold of something because you are deep rooted. That's when you're not afraid of change.
Exactly.
It's growth. It's
Oh,
realizing I need to change this in order to grow, in order to learn, in order to keep flowing, right? It's not about changing and shattering your world. It's about changing because you feel so deep rooted that it's all about growth.
It's all
And
about
the
understanding
rising,
differences. It's
yes,
different. Maybe it's uncomfortable, but
yes,
in the discomfort is where you find growth.
yeah,
And that's where we get back. We talk about inner children, and you were
yeah.
just said it so beautifully. And it is about having that same sense of wonder for
Mm.
life. Life doesn't just end because you get old.
No,
Oh, I think life expands because you get older.
yes,
Because the possibilities are there.
yes.
When I After my wife passed at age 60, my buddy and I we were going to travel Europe after college. He went to college, I got married, never happened. So at 60 years old, he and I went to Europe. We landed in Munich and we spent 17 days driving together. We drove and stayed in Airbnbs and went to Prague. We went to 8 countries, drove 2,500 miles throughout Central Europe. And by the way, my 60th birthday present was breakfast in Germany.
Hmm.
I had lunch in France and dinner in
Hmm.
Switzerland. And that was my 60th birthday present that we did that. But just never knowing where we were going to be the next day. We would look at it, we'd be somewhere and we'd go, okay, what direction are we going in next? Which way are we going? We had no itinerary.
Yeah, just get
And
in the
we ended
car and put it in gear.
put it in gear and we
That's
had
how I travel.
just amazing. And
Mm.
instead of staying in youth hostels, we were staying in Airbnbs, and we were driving an Audi SUV,
Great cars.
very comfortable.
Yes.
Um, we were driving on the Autobahn, and we were driving, through the Alps. We just drove the length of Austria. It was
Hmm.
just the most amazing
Awakening.
awakening. It really was to be able to take a dream and make it happen. And the memories last,
Yes.
forever and ever and ever. And it's that willingness to just allow.
And explore whether you getting on a plane or going somewhere, it's just willing to explore. I recently moved here to Nanaimo on Vancouver Island from Victoria because this is where my daughter and the babies are, and they wanted me close. And I didn't know much about Nanaimo when you're just coming to visit, you don't know much. Well, I say if you don't like green, don't come here because there's about 1 trillion green trees everywhere and lakes and ocean because we're surrounded by ocean. And it is a place where, surprisingly, the people I've met that lived in various parts of the world, big corporations, big cities, and they moved here because they felt disconnected there. And here they feel connected because nature is all around you. I often have deer walking in my garden. I've got,
Wow.
hummingbirds. I've got the monkey puzzle tree outside here, but I'm 3 minutes to all the shopping centers. So I think it's very, very important where we choose to root and the,
Mm.
the willingness to explore. And the beautiful thing about going anywhere is that sense of coming home with the package of memories and the package of experiences and coming home and then unpacking them and kind of reliving them again through photographs or just through sitting presently and remembering something or sharing the story with somebody
Mm.
else, right? It's the joy that you bring home and then share with other people, and they vicariously live through you because they know they're never going to do that kind of experience, but then you're sharing that joy and they're picking up on that joy and they start looking at their life in a more joyous way.
I think you encapsulated the person that you are. Anyone listening and watching you are going to find that joy within you, and that is what you give to the world, the gift that you give to the world, and that is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. And I will be honest, it was a journey to get here. I had to let go of that societal expectation, that dictation of what I should be. I was contributing to, I'm Not Selfish, I'm Not Easily Manipulated book or Sarah Jane's book. And, in that, for me, it was actually around the education because I wasn't academically educated because I was a sickly child. So I never finished school. And the
Mhm.
judgments that were always passed on, well, you're not educated, so therefore. And I realized that no, I'm universally educated. I download my wisdom. I allow it to sit with me. And when I stepped into that and said, it's okay to be that, I don't have to be what everybody else wants me to be. The only person I need to be is me. And then who is Sarah? Embrace who Sarah is, share who Sarah is, and people can take it or leave it. It's okay. I don't mind if you don't get me. That's fine, right? Don't hold personal thing.
Isn't that a gift?
Oh, a relief, a relief. You know, you're enough for somebody. Stop trying to be enough for everybody. Just be you. And I don't want people to get to 60s or 70s, and I'm almost 71, to learn that. I want them to learn it early. Please be you. You will constantly grow. You will have many chapters in your book of life. Some of them will be sad chapters, some of them will be difficult chapters, and some of them will be full of joy. But allow your chapters to be written by the universe and you entwined together.
Wow. I'm not going to try and top that one. That was absolutely beautiful.
Now, having said all these books that you have written, and there's many of them, where do people find your books? Where do people find your services? And what kind of clients are you looking for? Or that need to find you, rather?
And they need to find me. Uh, rscottholmes.com is my website. Uh, Brave Healer Publications, I have been with the majority of the books. They are on Amazon. They're all bestsellers on Amazon, which is quite a feat. They've had 100 bestsellers on Amazon. Range of topics is broad. As far as private clients, I do virtually Reiki, polarity therapy, theta healing, white time universal healing, also do coaching. And it's for those people who are looking to find
Mm-hmm.
themselves. Yes. And we really customize how we get there because everybody's journey is different. Mm-hmm. And there is no one formula. We look online and everything is here. If you do this, much like religion, right? If you do this is what you're going to get. It's like, it's a process. I did 5 years after my wife passed. I did 5 years of psychotherapy, which was absolutely wonderful. And most of the time it scared me half to death. But all the layers that I had of the armor slowly came off to be able to have the strength and be stronger than I ever have. And that is that strength I carry within me. I can walk into any room and never feel much like yourself. Yes. I don't have all of the degrees. I don't have the degrees. My girls, my wife, they all graduated. I worked my butt off to get them through that. I did not finish college. But who did they go for the answers? They came to me. And it really drove home the fact that you don't have to have that. It's life experiences and what you do with it and how you share it. Yes. And that's where joy in life is. I'm going to make a bet that in 10 years, you're still going to be doing this with as much enthusiasm, with as much understanding, with even more knowledge of where you are. Because you have that within you. And that
I made a deal with the universe. Keep me healthy. Keep me being able to see, hear, and feel and talk. I'll do this until 90 and then I'll review.
All right. 90 is
Another
good.
19 years.
I love it. I love it. And I have no doubt that you're going to get there.
Well, if the spirit in me, yes, it's my meaningful purpose. It's what drives me. It's what gets me up. You know, sharing stories of courage and strength and resilience and abilities and wisdom. And my mottos with these shows are listen, learn, and apply. There's something you've listened to here today that you've learned about yourself. Now, if you apply that, look how it's going to shift your life, whether it's an inch or a yard, it doesn't matter. It's shifting your perspective. It's believing in something, feeling ignited by something, and acting on it It's not listening for listening's sake. It's listening in order to propel you forward.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Now, of course, your site, as I said, is rscotholmes.com, rscottholmes.com. You're also on Facebook, Scott Holmes, and you're R. Scott Holmes on Instagram. And of course, on Amazon, all they have to do is put in your name and all of your books will come up. He has been having a bit of problem with Amazon at the present moment, folks, but bear with us. He's going to get that fixed up. And I always say books are our gift that keeps on giving. Christmas is coming up. Start buying the books. You know there's somebody that needs one of his books that's going to help them on their self-discovery. And it's just a wonderful gift to give because a book does keep on giving. A good book stays with you. It's something you always refer to. It sparks something in you. It helps you see something differently, but it's also something that you can apply to you and go, you know what? I needed to hear that because I need to act on it. So keep on giving the books. And if you need a bit of self-discovery yourself to ignite your own heart and soul, reach out to Scott, have a chat. Are you a fit? Are your energies in synergy together? And be willing to take that journey. Allow, surrender. Surrendering into your vulnerability is not where somebody's going to come out with the pitchforks and hurt you. No, it's putting down that sword, putting down that armor, and trusting that the universe has got you, love has got you, energy has got you, you've got you. And it's finding that path to there. So reach out to Scott and he'll help you to find it.
Thank you. Thank you. This was absolutely wonderful.
Right back at you. Loved every minute of it. So, and I hope you did too, folks. And don't forget to comment on the show, to share the show. And remember, I promote podcast parties where you will listen to a podcast over a glass of wine, a cup of coffee, and then share what you each got out of it. And you'll be very, very surprised at all the different perspectives. But now you've got a whole picture. So have a podcast party. We do it for book clubs. Have a podcast club. So thank you so much, Scott, for being here today. And to everyone out there, please ignite your heart and soul, not just for you, but for all of us. Because when you do, you raise that frequency, that beautiful consciousness, and that is what's going to heal our world and elevate us to the next level. So until next time, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tag at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.